Snapchat has exploded. It's obviously been around for a while, but I feel like the market myself in the last 16, 18 months, it's really taken off. It's no longer a tool for the teenagers, and a lot of brands are obviously taking notice of it as well. And really stoked to have the person who today to speak to you guys on Snapchat. I've seen this person personally just explode himself as a thought leader, and he's traveling all throughout the United States, actually doing some international travel to educate and speak to people on Snapchat. He is a social media strategist. He's been doing this now for a long time. I've had the pleasure of getting to know him through Snapchat all last summer. Him and I had a lot of fun doing Taylor Swift kind of snaps to each other. We're both Swifties. So, really stoked to have him up here. Let's give it up for Carlos Vela.
What up, Snapchat fam? How are y'all doing today? Yeah? Doing good? So today I am going to present to all of you about using Snapchat in your business, and specifically how to create a winning strategy. But before I do that, I want to take a moment just to acknowledge all of us in the room as social media professionals. Let's go ahead and clap it up one time. Let's do it. Clap it up. So before I get started, by a show of hands, how many of you in this room actively use social media in your business? Almost all of you. Great. I made it to the right event then. So I want to share with you guys the impact, before I get started, that social media has made on me professionally and personally. So I've been working in social media now for 8 years. And the way I got into this game was actually through a layoff. I used to actually work in banking. And in 2008, when the economy took a downturn and the recession hit, I was out of a job. And the first thing I did was I called my mom and I said, "Mom, I just got laid off today." And she said, "You know what, son? Get on this website called LinkedIn." And I was like, LinkedIn what? Never heard of it. Again, this is 2008. This is before using LinkedIn for professional networking, before using Facebook, before Twitter was a thing. So I joined LinkedIn the day that I lost my job, and immediately I saw social media as an opportunity to go ahead and be able to brand myself personally and connect with professionals all over the globe. And I did that. I got to work. I started using LinkedIn actively. I started up my own company, Jobs Direct USA, which is a staffing firm based in Jacksonville, Florida. And it wasn't until last year that I ended up landing a job at LinkedIn as a result of getting on the platform and really evangelizing it. So for anyone out there that's new in the business, keep losing my mic here. For anyone that is just getting started and new in the business, I want to say you are sitting right now on the cusp of the greatest ecosystem possible. It has made a tremendous impact, not only in my career, but for a lot of us here in this room. I just want to acknowledge this before I start talking about the fun stuff, which is Snapchat. But before I talk about Snapchat, I'd be remiss if I don't give a shout out to the OG of social media, which is AOL. And what you're seeing actually on the right side of the screen is a real life conversation between my wife and I back in 2001. I actually met my wife on AOL, on social media. You're seeing, this is not made up. This is a real conversation from back in the day. So before it was going down in the DM, it was going down on the IM. So a little bit about me, guys. I'm Carlos Gill. For those of you that follow me on Snapchat, thank you. For those of you that are on Snapchat, please add me at @carlosgill. I've been in this game for 8 years now, like I said. Used to run my own company. I work for different brands. Used to run social media for Winn-Dixie, Save-A-Lot. I worked at LinkedIn, and I'm currently the global head of social media for BMC Software. It's been a fun ride over the last 8 years, working on both B2B and B2C. But I tell you what has excited me the most about the last 12 to 18 months is Snapchat. I remember doing a lot of these talks, specifically around how to market to millennials. And when I would talk about Snapchat in 2014 and 2015, everyone would roll their eyes and say, "Oh, no one's ever going to use it." Well, they were wrong. So today, at the end of this presentation, what you will walk away with is advanced strategies for growing your followers. Because trust me, guys, I've networked with a lot of our peers and colleagues in the space. I get it. Snapchat is not the most intuitive platform in terms of growing followers, so I'm going to teach you some advanced strategies. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Geo Filters, how to use Geo Filters to raise awareness. And then also, most importantly, how to drive clicks and conversions to prove results. Because I think that's the name of the game. That's why we're all here today, is how are we going to take what we learn through all of these presentations and apply them in our business to drive results. And I can tell you, as someone who reports into a CMO and has worked with a lot of CMOs, if you're not using social media to drive results for them, which is the people that cut the checks, then you're just wasting your time. So understanding the basics, just by a very quick show of hands, how many of you in this room are on Snapchat? Awesome. So for those of you that are not on the platform, I'm going to give you just a very high-level overview. Snapchat is a mobile app, so you can only use Snapchat on a mobile device. The content that you create is created exclusively on Snapchat. Now, I know there are some third-party programs out there, and I'm not going to advocate or get into that, but content's primarily created on Snapchat. Video content and photo content is the name of the game here. So Snapchat is a storytelling app that allows you to essentially bring your brand to life in a much more humanistic form through short video and photo, 1 to 10 seconds long. And the kicker here, and personally why I am such a proponent of Snapchat, is content disappears within 24 hours. And I've had this conversation, this debate endlessly, especially over the last 6 to 8 months with marketers around, is this a platform where I should be investing time? Because historically, how's content marketing work? You work with your agency, if you're on the brand side, or you work with your in-house design team. You create these cool photos and videos, and then they live on your Facebook page and on your Twitter, and you hope that people are seeing them. So think about your favorite brand that you follow on social media, and think back to when was the last time that you went to see what they posted a day ago, a week ago, a month ago. Chances are you have no recollection of that, because social media operates in real time. And because social media operates in real time, Snapchat has figured out that you have a very short window to capture people's attention, which is why I personally and professionally see extreme value in content only being relevant for 24 hours. So the easiest way for me to go ahead and describe Snapchat to anyone that's just getting started is Snapchat is Twitter meets YouTube, but better. Now, guys, I'm a big proponent of Twitter. If you look me up on there, Carlos-Gill83, been using it now for 6, 7, 8 years. And what I love about Twitter, what I've always enjoyed about the platform, is micro content. Okay? Twitter is what I like to call a no bullshit social network. You have to get your point across in 140 characters or less. That's the comparison to Snapchat. On Snapchat, you have a very limited window, 10 seconds or less, to capture someone's attention. The YouTube aspect comes into play because the majority of content created on Snapchat is done through video. So the easiest way to think of your own personal, or as a brand, professional Snapchat accounts is that's your YouTube channel, essentially. So why Snapchat matter? Why should you even consider this as a platform for your business? Well, very simple. This is a growing social network. It's the second most active social network today. Over 200 million users are on Snapchat. Over 10 billion video views a day. Like I said, it's the most active social network behind Facebook. We're talking about Snapchat being now 5 years old, surpassing the likes of Twitter and LinkedIn for being active. And brand adoption as of April of this year has actually exceeded Twitter and LinkedIn. So let that register for a moment. Brand adoption on Snapchat today is greater than that of Twitter and LinkedIn amongst active brands. And you see here, brands are flocking to Snapchat. No pun intended. They're leaving Twitter, they're going to Snapchat. And why are they going to Snapchat? It's very simple. That's where people's attention is shifting. And that attention and the core demographic on Snapchat is the millennials. So these are your demographic of 18 to 35-year-olds. And in fact, if you look at the statistic on the screen, on any given day, 41% of 18 to 34-year-olds in the US are on Snapchat. So if you sitting here right now have a business or have a service of any kind, and you're trying to reach this audience, this is the best gateway to reach them today. It's not Facebook, it's not Twitter, it's Snapchat. And the key here, guys, is that millennials are expected to outspend baby boomers by 2017. So this isn't a demographic that's going away. They're going to continue to go ahead and increase their earning income potential. So think of the college student today. Think of the 21 to 22-year-old that's getting ready to graduate college today. He or she, in another 2 to 3 years, is going to be in a full-time job potentially. So as a brand, it's extremely important that you start looking at this as a platform where maybe you don't go all in right now, but I definitely advocate to develop a 12 to 18 month roadmap of how over the next 12 to 18 months you're going to actually get on Snapchat to engage this audience. And that's really what I want to help you guys do today. But I want to put this into context, guys. Based on the stats that I've shared with you, Snapchat's no longer about sexting. It's a legit social network. You've got ad agencies and brands spending millions upon millions of dollars on activations on Snapchat, like Gatorade, who this year ran a sponsored lens during the Super Bowl, and that sponsored lens wound up getting more impressions on Snapchat than the number of people actually saw the Super Bowl. So some things to take into account, and these are, I'll play on DJ Khaled, the keys to success of Snapchat. It's all about taking risks and being human, guys, and thinking outside the box. So this is not Twitter, this is not Facebook, this is not your company website, this is Snapchat. Snapchat is intended to be fun. And let me actually take a step back from that statement. Social media is intended to be fun. The key word in social media is social. And I think one thing a lot of brands have gotten away from over the years is actually using these platforms as a medium to engage and socialize because of the intense scrutiny that marketers are under by their executives to go ahead and show ROI. But again, enter Snapchat. Content should be fun, creative, informative, and engaging. I know there's a lot of solopreneurs. I meet a lot of them every day through Snapchat. Web designers, photographers, SEO specialists. And I always say, guys, this is the platform in which if you're giving as much valuable information, what I call freemium content, which means use Snapchat as a medium to tell your audience about what you do and how your services make a difference in their life or their business, then you've won. So look at fun, creative, informative, engaging as really the pillars of how content should be structured. Now, because content does disappear, engagement has actually proven to be much higher on Snapchat. So let's think about it. You have consumers, or you have followers that have added you on Snapchat because they generally care about your brand and they want to see what you're posting. And as long as you're posting good content, these consumers have an incentive to come back and see what you're posting every day or multiple times through the day. And another key, guys, is using Snapchat as a medium to build advocacy for your brand through user-generated content and takeovers. And I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about that as we go along. But real talk, guys, this is 2016. And people on social media, they don't want to engage with brand logos anymore. They don't want to engage with this mysterious bot, this just text that they don't know who it is. And Snapchat, especially over the next year, as we start seeing things like Facebook chatbots enter our ecosystem in terms of how consumers, how we use social, how brands use it, and start implementing chatbots, if you are a community manager sitting in this room right now, I highly encourage you to start building your personal brand on Snapchat. Because Snapchat is going to be the game changer that is actually taking the community manager role and allowing that person to step from behind the curtain and giving them a voice, giving them a face. So let's talk about growing followers, because this should be the first step. I know a lot of marketers, we constantly want to race to the finish line. How are we going to monetize these platforms? And the first step should actually be, how am I going to grow my following? And like I said earlier, Snapchat is not as intuitive as a Twitter or as a Facebook, where you can just upload a list and boom, you're off to the races. You actually have to work for your following. So the first is leveraging existing social media channels. I'm going to show you guys an example of that here. By now, chances are you've invested a lot of time, effort, and money in growing your following on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Well, guess what, guys? That doesn't go away just because you're on Snapchat. In fact, you should be looking to leverage those followers to add you on Snapchat, with the caveat being that the content that you deliver to them on Snapchat is unique and only relevant on Snapchat. So examples that you see here on the screen are American Airlines. When they launched their Snapchat account, they did a rebranding of their cover photo. They had a call to action on there to add us on Snapchat. You see thought leaders in our industry like Gary Vee that have recently changed their profile and their Twitter profile photos over to their Snap code. What this does is when people see your tweets or your Facebook posts in their feed, it sends a subtle call to action that you're on Snapchat, makes it easier for someone to add you. On Instagram, you see a lot of beauty bloggers and thought leaders that are also now adding their Snapchat URL in the link in the bio section. So again, guys, the name of the game here, the low-hanging fruit, if you will, to grow your followers on Snapchat is to leverage existing social networks. Next is working with influencers. So when Disney rolled out their Snapchat account, they actually worked with Mike Platko, who's a very well-known thought leader on Snapchat and influencer as well. And what they did is they worked with Mike to go ahead and create content on his account. And there's a big value to working with influencers, and namely because they have a lot of reach that they can then draw and pull over to your account. So Mike started creating a lot of content in his account. And you can see on the screen it says, add Walt Disney World on Snapchat. So again, Walt Disney tapped into his following. And then they also invited him to go out to their park in Orlando where he created content. Sephora is one of the best brands on Snapchat. And Sephora often has beauty bloggers do takeovers on their account. So for anyone sitting in this room, I can almost assure you that in your industry, you have influencers. And they used to be called bloggers. Today they're called influencers. But if you just Google your industry, so if it's hospitality, and you Google travel bloggers or hospitality bloggers, I'm more than certain that these individuals are on Snapchat and they have reach. And they also have storytelling skills, which is why you want to work with them. The next, and this is what I like to call a ninja growth hack, and that is paid social. So in February, I ran this as a test where I ran a mobile optimized Instagram ad. I spent $50 on this ad. It ran for the entire month of February. And this targeted a very young demographic, 22 to 34-year-olds on Instagram with an iPhone 6, mobile optimized ad, and they like Snapchat's Facebook page. I was able to reach over 5,000 targeted users. I was able to gain over 500 new followers on Snapchat, and I know that because I did this as a test. And as people were adding me, I was just asking them, how do you find me? How do you hear about me? And a lot of them said, I saw you on Instagram. And you can see the engagement metrics on the screen, over 600 likes on this Instagram post alone. So this is a tactic that was previously implemented on Facebook to grow followers. It was previously implemented on Twitter. And you can still do the same thing, but the name of the game, guys, is to run a hyper-targeted ad. So if you know who your demographic is, who's the target audience that you're trying to reach, use Facebook's immense database to drill down on the age range as well as those customers or that demographic that likes Snapchat's Facebook page. The next is keys for creating content. And creating content also is not as intuitive as other social networks because, again, you can't just go off to your agency or your in-house design team to create it. You have to think outside the box. You have to be creative. This is a social network that forces marketers to actually market. So content should be complementary to your brand. It goes without saying that the content that you put on Snapchat, just because this is a fun social network, it should still be relevant and tied to what you're posting on other social networks. However, be much more humanistic and transparent. And the key, guys, is to have fun. You have one shot to make a first impression on Snapchat. If your content sucks, I can almost assure you people are not going to come back and watch. And the next is using Geo Filters. I'm going to share with you guys some examples. So let's talk a little bit about going behind the scenes with your content. And I know a lot of us in this room, we follow Gary Vaynerchuk. What you're seeing on your screen is how Gary, when he launched the Ask Gary V book, he went on his book signing tour around the globe. He's showing people, giving them an inside bird's eye view at what that's like. Again, so using Snapchat is a great medium to go ahead and take people behind the scenes at your local restaurant. Okay, if you're a pizzeria, you can actually use this as a medium to share with people what's on the menu for tonight. If you're a supermarket chain, you can share with people, here are some deals. If you are a home-based business owner, you can share with people, here's how you use the product that I sell. This is how it works. So let's talk about Geo Filters for a moment. And Geo Filters, from my perspective, are the most economical way today to do paid social to reach millennials. Because again, you have the key statistics. 63% of millennials in the US are on Snapchat. So if you want to reach this audience and you don't want to spend a lot of money, run a Geo Filter. And what you see in front of you is an example specifically from W Hotels. And W Hotels, and apologies to Tyler, because I'm a big Marriott fan too, but I want to say W Hotels has these Geo Filters all over the world at their properties. And if you look at the captions on them, they have messaging that resonates specifically with millennials. So they have messages like current situation, auto reply, out of office. Again, they know that the demographic is a lot younger, but they're making it fun. They're making it cool to share content. And with that being said, I know that Social Media Day San Diego has Geo Filters running. So try using those here today, guys, because it's a great way for, as a brand, to be able to get others that visit to create content for them. So let's talk about keys for converting. So I've given you some insights on how to grow, how to create content. Now let's talk about how you actually monetize this. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about flash sales and offering coupon codes and using creative tools. But before I do that, I want to give a shout out to the godfather of Snapchat, and that's DJ Khaled. Any DJ Khaled fans here in the room? Yeah? Yeah, come on, clap it up. Keys to success. DJ Khaled is the most watched user on Snapchat. DJ Khaled gets 3 million views per snap. And you guys want to know the secret of how he's done it? He's content's right. He has built a loyal community. A loyal community. You've got a guy like me who's here on a stage speaking to a sea of professionals about a hip hop rapper and DJ. That's building community because I watch and because I've become a fan. And everyone in this room, whether you're an individual or whether you're a brand, this should be the focus, is how do I engage as many people as possible to watch my content every single day and multiple times throughout the day? How do you create content that's so fun and engaging that people say, wow, like, man, have you checked out this brand's account? Have you checked out this agency's account? Have you checked out this business's account? Have you checked out this thought leader's account? Because, man, they're good. They're actually helping me in my life or in my career. They're engaging, they're funny. But it starts with building a loyal audience and community. You will not, and this is not just for Snapchat, this is for any social network, guys. You will not convert on social media if you don't start first with building community. I heard Joel talking about the power of relationships, and it's so true, guys. Snapchat, for as fun as a platform is honestly no different than any other social network out there from the fundamentals of these are tools to build relationships and then build an engaged audience. So how do you do that? How do you now start transitioning from engaging to, you know what, my CMO wants to start seeing the results? Well, you have things like flash sales. Because content disappears within 24 hours, you can run a 24-hour sale. You can use things like coupon codes if you have an e-com or home-based business with a website. You can overlay coupon codes that are only exclusive for that day. And by doing this, you can now measure anyone that purchased using this coupon code. You know that that sale came as a result of a referral on Snapchat. So an example you see here on the screen, it's not necessarily a flash sale, but it's a good way of how to create time-based content that appeals to millennials. And that example is actually Grubhub. So when Grubhub recently was looking to go ahead and hire someone for their team, they wanted someone that had Snapchat skills. And they created content on Snapchat to go ahead and try to drive awareness amongst younger millennials that they want to come work for the brand. And if you see there's only a few days left to apply, and you don't see it here on the screen, but they actually put a link for candidates to go apply for the job. And for those of you sitting out there thinking, well, how do I measure those leads, or how do I measure traffic that comes to my website? I gave you the tip on coupon codes. Go to Bitly and create a shortened URL, and then drop that Bitly as a text overlay on your Snap. And now anyone that visits that Bitly that you're only giving out exclusively on Snapchat, you can measure the visits that came to your website as a result of Snapchat. On the right side of the screen, you see other examples of flash sales. And again, it's leveraging existing social media channels. So your Facebook doesn't go away, your Twitter doesn't go away. It's important that you leverage your existing social media channels to let your community know. One of the questions I get asked almost every single day is, how often as a brand should we be posting on Snapchat? And my answer is always the same. Wherever feels comfortable for your brand, but I'll give you this challenge first. Focus on taking one day out of the week where you storyboard out in advance, no different than you would create a content calendar for your other networks. Storyboard out what you're going to say from beginning, middle to end on Snap, and then go dark on your other social channels. And what I mean by going dark is you go on Twitter, you go on Facebook, you go on Instagram, and you have a call to action like you see here on the screen in front of you. Visit our Snapchat channel today, and it's sending a message to all your followers to go see your Snapchat because there's something of value there. It could be an offer, it could be a really cool story, but the key, guys, is to ensure that when they get there, there's something that's of value to them. So before I wrap up, I want to go ahead and go through a recap and next steps. First of all, guys, Snapchat is it, and it's here to stay. Snapchat is not going away. And if you haven't joined yet, hopefully at the end of this talk, hopefully after hearing some other speakers today, you feel inspired to go ahead and join. I mean it when I say it, guys. This is the best social network today to reach 18 to 35-year-olds. And it's not going away. Snapchat is a new social network. It will continue to improve. They will continue to improve their analytics. They will continue to improve their paid ad platform. And your strategy over the next 18 months should be, how do I go ahead and develop a plan in which we focus on growing, creating the content, and then measuring, which is most importantly converting. But the key, guys, is to use this as a platform to tell engaging creative stories. Again, this is not Twitter, this is not Facebook, this is Snapchat. And one of the things that oftentimes I've read, or within our community as marketers, I've heard is everything that you've learned about social media goes out the window. No, it doesn't. Not at all. In fact, everything you've learned about social media up to this point, it's critical that you implement on Snapchat, because it's not as easy as a Facebook or a Twitter. I'll be the first to admit it. It is a challenging platform. But if you're able to go ahead and do what I always advise, which is grow, engage, and convert, then you're one step ahead of your competition. So I'm going to leave you guys on this note. There is no instant ROI in social media, guys. There's no instant ROI on Snapchat. There is no instant ROI on Facebook. There's no instant ROI on social media. The name of the game is you have to grow, engage, and then convert. And if you do that successfully, then you've won. Thank you. So I have my contact info on the screen. Feel free to email me with any questions you have. I also have a website, snapchatforbusiness.com. And if you want to add me on Snapchat, you can do so at @thecarlosgill. So thank you guys once again.